SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We now bring in senior writer John Schopp to join us. This is, I don't even know what year it is. I think we talked about it last week, year 10. Is that right, John? Was it year 10?
This is my 11th season of Spartan Nation. I think this is our 6th or 7th season of picking these games.
All right, so John, last week was week 0. We didn't disagree on any, but I want you to introduce the format, explain to everybody, and let's do our pick 6.
Here we go. We've got the pick 6. Those are the 6 most interesting games of the week. It is a weekly matchup, a lot like fantasy football for those of you out there playing, and it carries over if we tie. Now, we got a couple special weeks on the calendar. Week 1 is one of them because it's a feature week of college football. We had the mess of a game in the Citrus Bowl last week in week 0 where Florida barely survived. We have got 11 more games. These are the most interesting games of the week, and let's kick it right off.
All right, John, what are they?
Oh, where do we start? How about in the ACC? A lot of people are honking that Virginia is going to be good this year. I don't know. They're going to play Pittsburgh this weekend, UVA at Pitt. I don't think this one is really that close. UVA is not ready at all. Pitt, big.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going Pitt on that one all the way.
Here is one that Spartans will remember. The best senior quarterback in the country is probably Mr. Love at Utah State. He is going to make some noise this week. He's going to Wake Forest, Utah State at Wake Forest, Utah State by a bunch.
Ooh, John, you're tempting me here. I got to tell you, knowing how much you loved the Utah State quarterback, I actually kind of thought, okay, this is going to make it in there because you loved him last year. You were all over him. But, man, I want to go against you because I want us to have it interesting, but I can't, John. I just don't see it either. To me, this is not a game. I'm trying to think. I want to word this right. This is not a game where you're going to see a lot of teams come in, and Wake Forest is just not that team. I don't think there's good. That quarterback's an NFL guy. I'm going to have to go with Utah State too. I'm sorry, John. I wanted to go against you bad.
Gary Anderson, a familiar name for the Big Ten for a little bit, back at Utah State, gonna take this team and travel well.
I think he's a good coach too, John. I think he's a really good coach.
He may be, but he might have done some real damage to his career the way he exited the last spot, and I think it was Oregon State. Here is an interesting one. University of South Carolina at the University of North Carolina. Battle of I-95, Battle of the Carolinas. Here comes Mac Brown out of retirement. Is he really going to work that hard as a coach? I don't know. I like South Carolina in this Battle of the Carolinas.
Yeah, I'm going to go with South Carolina also. And, John, can we go back to that Utah State-Wake Forest game for a second?
Sure.
I just can't get it out of my mind. I just have to believe Wake Forest is a Power 5 school. At some point, they got to act like it. Just for the sake of us finally wanting to disagree on something, because I thought you'd take Mac Brown. I'm going to take Wake Forest in that game, but I also am going to take Utah State. I mean, I'm going to take Wake Forest, and I'll also take South Carolina.
I'm with you. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think we're selling Utah State short. So I am going to keep an eye on that one. I'm going to keep an eye on all these.
So you're taking Utah State. I'll take Wake.
Yes.
Okay.
That is how we have it on. That is how we have it on.
Right.
There's a lot more to go here. I like this one a lot. Remember Chip Kelly? He's back in college football. He's at UCLA. He's going to Cincinnati. A lot of people have Cincinnati going deep as an undefeated team. It starts Saturday. I like the Bearcats.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this.
It's a 7 o'clock kick on Thursday.
I know it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, and I'm trying to really go through this in my head. John, okay, I'm going to take UCLA.
That would be That would be a big one. That would be a big win for them. We're going to get into some rivalry games in a minute, but we've got a couple interesting ones. Virginia Tech, disaster, meltdown, mass defection, intentionally not playing some guys in a bowl game. Eesh. Virginia Tech at Boston College, Trouble City for Fuente. Boston College, Steve Addazio still there. Hokies at BC.
You know, John, this one is really perturbing to me for a lot of reasons. I don't know what the hell's going on at Virginia Tech. I wanted to believe in that program. Then I don't want to believe in the program. I loved the previous head coach. I'm sorry. John, it's too tough for me to get this one. This is you're really making the pick six tough this year. I just want you to know that right now. But at some point, I've got to go with Virginia Tech. You're not buying it, huh?
Well, I think the quarterback loss there is a big deal. A lot of people know Josh Jackson in mid-Michigan. We're going to see him most likely as a Terrapin very soon. I like Boston College at home. I was never high on Justin Fuente. Really got out of hand there. They may be able to rehabilitate it. I'm not going to buy it yet. I like the little Fighting Addazio's there on Chestnut Hill. I also like a game called Boise State University versus Free Shoe U, Florida State. Can the Seminoles get anything back on track, or is this thing running right out of control?
Okay, listen, now you know this. I love Harlan Barnett. Harlan Barnett is a dear friend of mine, and he's a great guy. I'm not saying anything to you that you don't know privately between me and Harlan. But I think Florida State is going to implode this year, and I think everybody at Florida State is getting fired. I'm not buying this at all. I'm not going with this at all. I'm going to take Florida State, but an upset here would not surprise me, but only because Boise has to travel across the country. I think the 7 o'clock start helps them. But, man, I'm going to go with Florida State, but I mean only by a sliver. I think they win it by 1 point on a last-second field goal.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I don't like Boise State traveling to the extreme heat and humidity, and the athletic edge is still Florida State, so I like it just like you do. I like Florida State by less than a field goal.
Okay.
And the same state in Central Florida, it's going to be probably hot, humid, and wet. Wisconsin Badgers are going there with a new quarterback to play University of South Florida. This one is going to be close. This is a Bucky special, though. This one I like Wisconsin in the end.
I don't even think it's close. I think it's blowout city.
Blowout city for the Badgers. That's all right. Now we've got some cooking to do. We got 4 that really are on fire. Oregon, Auburn. Feature game of the weekend. Oregon Ducks, Auburn Tigers.
Oh, Johnny. I'm going to say this to you. I wrote in my first top 25 for week 0. I'm not sold on Oregon, but I don't know if it's because the Michigan State defense was so good. But in this game, I'm not necessarily sold on either team, so I'm going to give the edge to the home team, and it's Auburn. I think it's Auburn at least. No, actually, it's a neutral site. But it's
kind of, yeah. Texas.
Yeah. Oh, it's right. Okay, I'm going to go with Auburn, John.
I'm going to go with Oregon. I don't really have a great reason why, but I'm going to go with the Ducks on this one. And now we're going to be heading to let's talk about it. Ivy equivalent rivalry game. Northwestern Wildcats, Stanford Cardinal. As bad as Michigan State was last year relative to their expectations and identity, Stanford was really just as bad. I don't think they bounce back that quickly. I'm all on this Hunter Johnson train. Wildcats start the year with a bang out at the farm.
I predict Stanford to win this game, but I also predict Northwestern to win the Big Ten West. So, I've got Northwestern at 14 in my college football. Man.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't go against them because I think they're that good. I'm going to go with Northwestern with you.
Aha, there we go. Now, this is a better one. Colorado State. These guys don't like each other. They're not going to like each other. This game, I think, is a toss-up. I'm going wild card. Give me the CSU Fighting Rams or whatever they are.
I am full on board with Colorado. I will disagree on that one.
All right. And I think the game of the week, we love it, the Holy War. The Holy War is usually at the end of the year. The Holy War has been moved around. I like this move, that we're moving it to week 1. I dislike that it's going to keep me up so late on Thursday because this is a 10-15 kick. Holy War, blowout city this time. Utah mauls BYU. Utah got hosed out of a Rose Bowl last year. I didn't forget it. They didn't forget it. They're going to be making points this year. Watch out for Utah. Utah big on the road over BYU.
Yeah, I think Utah's a top 10 team. I love them. I think they crush BYU.
Well, it's going to be a battle. It is the Holy War. It may be week 1, but these guys don't mess around. I can't wait to see it. So week 1, there it is, your pick 6, 12. It's a feature week. We're going to get off cooking to a good start. And, of course, the Spartans got to get their business done on Friday night, which I imagine we'll talk about now.
John, so just for the record, I want everyone to know, because people, believe it or not, actually do keep track of this. I actually get emails and stuff from people who will say to me, oh, John won that one. And I'm like, what? I'll have to look at my phone. We disagree on 5 games. You took Utah State. I took Wake. You took Cincy. I took UCLA. You took BC. I took Virginia Tech. You took Oregon. I took Auburn. You took Yeah, you took Colorado State. I took Colorado. We disagree on 5 games, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
John, couple of things. My War Room article came out in which I told the story about Mark Hollis had no oversight of Larry Nassar at all. The board knew it. And
Sure.
There was not all media, but there were several media people that did journalistic malfeasance when they were sniffing around Nassar. They blamed Hollis. He went to the board and said, listen, you guys know this man isn't over me. He isn't under me. I've never even met him. Please come out and make a public statement that this was a fact. It's truthful. I'm getting crushed. My family's getting crushed. The board said, oh, your job is safe. Let it blow over. We're not saying anything. We're not endorsing anyone. The lawyers have told us to be quiet. Then they go out, and all of them publicly, full-throatedly endorsed Lou Anna Simon. Then when the Nassar story hit ESPN, and they had Nassar's picture up there with Hollis and everyone else, and the heat became so hard on his family, Hollis is like, screw these people, and walked away. I said in my War Room article that every one of those board members who are still on the board that full-heartedly endorsed Lou Anna, if she's found guilty of anything with Larry Nassar, including a plea, every one of them should have the integrity to resign, since they are elected by the people to oversight and protect the university, and they endorsed her and they were wrong, if found guilty. And if they won't resign, the governor should remove them. Where am I wrong?
The plea issue is a little bit tricky. That's the only thing I would disagree with. It would be a great surprise if President Simon was found guilty to me, although I'm not super familiar with the case. But it's greatly disappointing that that Mark Hollis got dragged in and mixed in where he shouldn't have been. For God's sake, a medical doctor on a gymnastics team is not somebody under the direct management or purview of an athletic director. It's practically completely separate. So in the interest of keeping information straight, it would have been wise had Michigan State been publicly, disclosed, hey, here's a guy and here's a number of positions that don't have anything to do with this at all. And that would have seemed to be the right thing to do. It did seem like frustration mounted, and then you had some trustee members not handling the thing very well, and it's not a surprise that Mark Hollis walked away when he did. When you look back at it now, you can see, hey, there wasn't a lot of control there within that group. It seemed to me from far away like the board understood that things were relatively clear, and they got a little too comfortable, and then it got loose when some of the testimony got public and that type of thing, and then they didn't handle it well. They almost got too confident that they were all good to go, and they didn't take care of some fundamentals because everybody else out there, especially in the public, knew so much less than they did. So it's a disappointing thing to see and hear. The only way I would differ with you is if the plea thing is a little bit different. It's dramatically different than being found guilty, because somebody could plead to something very, very minimal with no criminal attachment to it just to resolve the matter. I wouldn't want to attach that to resignations as much. Although I'm all for
10 seconds, John.
I'm all for really fresh ideas as often as we can reasonably get for all those boards, for all major universities. You don't want to get stuck in ruts.
Spartan Nation senior writer Johnny Shop will be back. Senior writer Johnny Shop will be back. Senior writer